Barrister and political commentator Stephen Barrett. Stephen, this is the story of a Reform UK councillor up in Scotland in Falkirk. Her name is Claire Mackey-Brown. She went on to STV, Scottish television, a couple of weeks ago and got into big trouble because she used that. I can't believe she said this on live television. I mean, it's heinous. It's so racist. She said that she was born and bred in Falkirk. That was the sum total of her crime. The police, she was reported for this fascistic racism to the police, and they actually did investigate her. They decided after some days that there was no criminality involved in the use of the phrase born and bred. I mean, you know, stop the world, I want to get off. This is absolutely insane. Now, to put this in, we're going to play a little interview in a minute. Put it in context. Falkirk, funnily enough, up there in Scotland, is right on the forefront of the asylum seeker crisis. They have a lot of asylum seekers there, and they've got a hotel there and everything. And only a few months ago, an Afghani asylum seeker who arrived on a small boat, crossed the channel illegally, was almost immediately billeted in a hotel in Falkirk. He got there and he immediately hit the streets, found a 15-year-old local vulnerable girl, took her behind the pub and viciously raped her. I say a couple of months ago, he was sentenced a few months ago to 12 years. He was furious. His defence was that he hadn't realised that in Britain we took rape so seriously. So once again, one of those stories about the cultural divide that makes the asylum seeker crisis so perturbing. Anyway, so Claire Mackey-Brown was talking about the fact that people in this local area are getting more and more worried, more and more feeling more and more unsafe. Anyway, here she is committing the most appalling hate crime, saying born and bred.
I think people don't want answers about the local white boy who's done this that you are unaware of.
Because it's not known. If I don't know about it, how am I supposed to have an opinion on it or be able to ask questions? I don't have an answer to that. I'm trying my hardest to bring community cohesion. I've been overwhelmed with the contacts I've had from people within Falkirk. And, you know, there is a true unrest, and it's scary. It's scary as a local resident, somebody who's born and bred here. I shouldn't have said that.
Well, yeah. Do you see why this is? People sometimes think that Reform are very much against having people here.
It just came out just...
That's unfortunate for you, I guess, but ultimately, do you see why people who aren't from here, who have maybe made their home here, are annoyed when they hear an elected official say that people are born and bred here?
Yeah, thank you very much, STV interviewer. Go and find a new career. God's sake. I mean, Christ knows why she said, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Perfectly valid for a local councillor to say, I am voicing the fears and the worries of the local community. I was born and bred here. And for some reason, she thought that was slightly contentious. It isn't. And it's certainly not a hate crime. What is going on that the police actually receive this? They should take that phone call and say, hang on, you want us to investigate that somebody said I was born and bred here. Thank you very much for your call. Go and get a life and put the phone down. Instead, they did investigate. I mean, what is going on, Stephen?
So I think you're right to absolutely just focus on the fact that she shouldn't. Why did she self-censor? Because she looks to me like somebody who's been conditioned by abusive people to believe that she's inherently wrong and that she said something bad. Now, I was born somewhere else and then bred somewhere else, but I would, if I represented that in southern Worcestershire, which I love, if I went back into southern Worcestershire and was some sort of political representative, I'd say I was raised here and I consider myself of Worcestershire. What on earth is wrong with that? Nobody denies that everybody else is allowed to have a sort of ethnic basis or a grounded basis. Our constitution requires people to be connected to the land. That's the whole point. The minute you get an MP who's actually from the local area, whatever the party is, you're more likely to win the seat because people like that. You know, people, and there's nothing wrong with that. That is part of our constitution. Scotland has gone slightly madder than the rest of the United Kingdom.
Yeah, and that's saying something, yeah.
And I think we need to highlight this. There is an obvious problem across the globe, across the globe, something, and I don't even need to name what it is because I don't need to care, but something is trying to get a hate law in all of Western societies. Ireland suffered this. They actually had the guts in Southern Ireland to pull back and go, do you know what, this is so badly written it's not going to work. Scotland just said, this is so badly written that we love it. The Settlement of Union said that we should have one parliament in this country, and I think we should have one parliament making laws. We allowed Scotland to have independent criminal law to an extent, but I really wonder whether this, you know, the historic mistake, if you like, of allowing Scotland to have its own independent criminal law, coupled with the massive mistake of creating a county council called a parliament in Scotland, which is making criminal laws, is just blowing up in our face. Because look at them, they're all oppressed. And by the way, because of how legal regimes work, if there's a bad hate crime law in Scotland, it doesn't stop at the border.
Yeah,
it carries to all of us. We'll all be under it.
I don't believe there's any such thing as a good hate crime law. I don't think we should have them anywhere. They're a bad idea. And they lead to this kind of insanity, this absolute insanity. Let me put this out to the audience. Let me know what you think about this. Somebody says, I was born and bred here, and gets investigated by the police for a racist hate crime, for saying I was born and bred here. As Stephen says, you know, so sensitive as this ludicrous area become, that she thought she'd said something wrong. I was born and bred here, I shouldn't have said this. Of course you should have said it. Why shouldn't you say it? Let me know what you think about this, but I think it is time that we had a crackdown with this, and I'd like the police to be more to show more common sense when it comes to this kind of stuff. Someone think, oh, we have to investigate because we received a report. We received a complaint. Well, if the complaint is somebody said they were born and bred here, and we say that's racist, the police should say, get out. You know, we're too busy for this kind of nonsense. Don't you think? 0344 499 1000. I'm just reading here, there's got a message from Steve in East Yorkshire saying that, you like this, Stephen, that the person who complained compiled a 22-page dossier on this appalling hate crime. As Steve in East Yorkshire says, what the hell did they write in 22 pages? And Steve is also suggesting that perhaps the complainant should be charged for wasting police time. I like that last suggestion. 22 pages! What did they put in that dossier?
Nonsense, because we are drowning in words, and you see how they hoisted us by our own petard. We're not racists, so we don't want to be racist. So we accept that racism is a moral evil, which it is. It's also particularly intellectually stupid. I always like to point that out. But it is a moral sin. Fine. Define it. What is it? And without a clear definition, they've been allowed to run round and pretend that all sorts of things are racist whenever it suits them. And this poor lady she's so inculcated in that. And it's a mechanism of control, by the way. Bad people who want to control you will never tell you what the rules are. They'll just tell you randomly that you're transgressing them. They'll just randomly get angry at you. In domestic situations, we call this coercive and controlling behaviour. But we now see this by government. You know, and it is to investigate her for what explain, and not only should the person who complained be done for wasting police time, but so should the officers. Officers, explain to me on what basis you wasted public money pursuing this investigation. Absolutely. Officers, explain to me what your rationality is, and don't do it in 22 pages. Do it on one, and be clear. And that's what we need to return to clarity. And it is my big message that we are drowning in words, and it's allowing bad people to abuse us. I think the devil is in the detail, and he's doing bad things in that detail.
I got a phone call from some little dork last night when I said I didn't think that recognising Palestine was a good idea on Britain's part. He said, because I said that made me a racist and an Islamophobe.
These words mean nothing, and they're just used to scare and control. They're just made to, all he was trying to do was to scare you, to shut you up. And we're going to have to go back against these people. That's why I take great comfort in ladies of a certain age, because ladies of a certain age will not have this nonsense. They won't put up with it. And I think we've all just got to push back and go, nope, we're not racist and we're not having this nonsense anymore.
Here's to ladies of a certain age. And on that bombshell, let's go to break. See you in a minute, Stephen. Welcome back. I'm still with barrister and political commentator Stephen Barrett. Stephen, in another life, a couple of years ago, I used to present a TV show on TalkTV here in London Bridge with Alex Phillips. We were a fantastic double act. We were Richard and Judy without the talent. But seriously, we did some decent stuff, actually. And this was an investigation for TalkTV into hate preachers, the hate speech that unfolds to this day on a regular basis in mosques. This is anti-Semitic, kill the Jews, annihilate Israel type rhetoric. Have a look at this report and then we'll talk about what the Culture Secretary, Lisa Nandy, is proposing to do about this.
Allahu Akbar.
A sermon at the Redbridge Islamic Centre in Ilford. The speaker prays with his congregation in Arabic to curse the Jews and the children of Israel. TalkTV had the recording translated twice independently. It's voiced by an actor.
O Allah, curse the Jews and the children of Israel. O Allah, curse the infidels and the polytheists. O Allah, break their words, shake their feet, disperse and tear apart their unity, and ruin their houses and destroy their homes.
And from London to Liverpool.
If the 2 billion just marched on Israel, it's all over. You spat in the direction of Israel, 2 billion, it's all over.
To Birmingham.
The stones will speak and say, "Oh Muslim, behind me there is a Yahudi, come and kill him."
Preachers at mosques across Britain have been filmed calling for victory for Hamas.
O God, heal our hearts regarding the usurping Jews and in every enemy of you and the Muslims. O God, limit their number, kill them indiscriminately, and do not leave any of them alive. O God, our Lord, disperse them, weaken their strength, shake the ground beneath their feet, and freeze the blood in their veins. Make them captive to the Muslims.
And stoking hatred against Jews and Israel with alarming anti-Semitic rhetoric.
O Revenger, revenge from the oppressive aggressor occupying Zionists. O Allah, shake the earth beneath them. O Allah, limit their number, kill them indiscriminately, and do not leave any of them alive.
Rhetoric that in some cases is as violent as that of Abu Hamza, the known hate preacher who delivered sermons at Finsbury Park Mosque before it was shut down and who was deported from the UK. In Greenwich, this speaker ended his prayers with calls for Allah to grant victory over the enemy. The Met said while it understands the footage raised concern in Greenwich, no offences had been committed there. Jewish groups, though, say that police aren't doing enough and are calling for prosecutions in some cases, warning that some of these sermons could lead not only to hate crime, but extremism and even terror.
There is no difference between the rhetoric in the Hamas Charter and the rhetoric that is on display in these videos. They are utterly hateful, they are violent, and they are a threat to both Jews and non-Jews in this country. There is a real risk of more than just one person being encouraged by this rhetoric to go out and take action on the streets. And we've seen how bad that can be in the past.
TalkTV has confirmed that police are assessing video evidence from 4 of the 7 mosques we've highlighted. The Charities Commission is also examining some of the footage, as the majority are also linked to registered charities, meaning they receive taxpayers' money. In a statement, they said, "We are aware of a significant number of serious concerns, which largely concern allegations of anti-Semitic or hate speech. We're assessing them, and if there has been any wrongdoing, we'll take action." TalkTV reached out to all of the mosques and figures featured in this report. Redbridge Islamic Centre declined to comment directly to us, but previously said it launched an immediate investigation and decided that the imam will not be allowed to address worshippers again until it's concluded. No other mosques responded.
A lengthy report there, Stephen, but worth showing again. Now, this was a couple of years ago. That was pretty much the last we ever heard of it. The police never arrested anyone. No one was ever charged. The mosques, we're pretty certain, did nothing about it. Maybe that particular hate preacher was banned, but I wouldn't mind betting it wasn't for long. So this continues apace. This happens all the time in mosques all over the country. This anti-Semitic hate preaching against Israel, you know, the annihilate Israel, kill all the Jews, take all their homes, etc., etc. Now, Lisa Nandy, in the wake of our synagogue attack a couple of weeks ago, the culture secretary, she has now launched a massive crackdown on Islamic centres preaching anti-Semitic hate. Guess what it is? Anyone who's been convicted of a hate crime won't be able to take a senior position on the charities that run mosques. That's it. That's it. It's pathetic, isn't it?
Well, I think I was brought up by a working class grandmother who would have called that the bleeding obvious.
Yeah.
Kev, I'm sorry, I don't know how else to put that. I mean, that should never have happened. I think that we are letting both communities down, and I think ultimately we're letting our nation down because we have quite a substantial Islamic population here. I've mentored many of them, I mentor indiscriminately British young people into universities. We have very, very good and capable young people. We're letting them down. One thing that struck me through that video is I didn't see any women in any of those videos. That's quite shocking. A lot of my mentees are young British Muslim women who will go to university, get good degrees, and who will be very respectable members of the British Muslim community. But we have the British Jews a right to complain, because we've just ignored this problem for 20 years, at least 20 years, 25 years. We've done nothing about it. We've literally put smouldering coals under the rug and just hoped everything would get better. And of course, this has resulted in threats to the Jewish community, the disgraceful murder of two innocent heroes at the Manchester
synagogue, yeah.
Synagogue. I mean, it's just they are right to be screaming from high heaven. I mean, I won't complain about the British Jewish community at all. I wish we'd all scream from the high heavens about this.
Meanwhile, Stephen, of course, these hate marches continue through our cities every weekend. They vow for them to continue. My brilliant producer, Samara Gill, went down to the London march on Saturday, found these two guys running around with a jihad flag. Meanwhile, we've got footage and film of people shouting, you know, death to the Zios, put them in the ground, and so on and so forth. So this is
arrest them, Kev.
Yeah, but the police don't. Just like they don't do anything about hate preachers. I mean, you know, if I was being cynical, I would say that the whole British establishment was pro-Palestine and anti-Israel, including the police.
Well, I think these are all symptoms of the Marxism, actually. I think that they've just decided that they'll support extreme Islamic extremism and throw good British Muslims under the bus, because that's what that does. And then in the LGBT stuff, which, you know, I'm in the rainbow letter soup, yeah, they wanted to throw us under the bus with basically all types of wrong-uns, and quite a lot of us just went, no, we're not going under the bus with these people. We're decent British people. You're not singling us out. And it's the same problem in multiple places, yeah. And it really is this Fabian Marxism, which thinks it can lie and thinks it can run a state by lying and thinks it will create a Marxist utopia.
Something's got to give, Stephen. Something's got to give. Really good to have you on the show, as always. Excellent stuff there from Stephen Barrett, barrister and social commentator.